here I am at the controller. So let me do like this. This is gonna be REST controller and request mapping. Let me put name. Here we gonna auto wire service. So let me do one thing. Let me go and write this whole code very quick, and then I'll come back again. So I have created this model for the holding purpose of the data, and let me put all the fields here. And again, I'm going to use the shortcut to create. First, let me create a constructor without fields. Then I'm going to create a constructors with fields. And then I'm going to create setters and getters with all the fields. So our model class is ready. Let me save this, and I'm closing it. So here our first API is gonna be get details. So we're gonna write 4 APIs basically. Get for getting everything. So let me write like this: get mapping, and here I'm gonna do only slash, and here it is a public, and it will return list of employees, employee, and get all. And this will call the service class employee service and get all. So we didn't write it yet, so let me hit control space here, and here also control space, hit import, and this function we didn't write, so it is showing us to create method get all. Let me create this here, and this we know that service will call repository again, and I'm gonna do find all. We don't have find all in the employee repository, so it's gonna tell us to create, and let me create here. So thing is we need to follow something, and here let me do one thing. If I do return, and if I use JDBCTemplate, and I have query. So if you see here, we have so many options for query, and for now this SQL and row mapper I'm going to use. So the thing is, database will give you back a result set, and you need to convert it into the desired result. So that's called mapping. You something is coming from database which is not in the form of Java object, so you need to convert it into your application format. So I'm going to write a mapper here, and query. So first of all, let's write query. So thing is, you can write something like this here in query, saying select star from employees, and let me write row mapper here. So here private, and if I do like a row mapper, I can see it is an interface, and I need to choose this JDBC core row mapper, and it is showing it is an interface. So interface, it is a functional interface. If you open this row mapper, let me first write employee here, and give me name mapper, and so if you open this, you will see it is an functional interface, and see here it is a functional interface, and only one method is there, and that's why we can use our lambda function here, and I can specify something like this. So result set, which is also an interface, and I can do result set, then I'm giving name rs, and then integer, which will take an integer as a column number, or sorry, row number, and I need to implement this, so I can do something like this. Now here I need to create a employee object first, emp, and here I need to take like each and everything from result set, and I need to assign that value to the employee. So I can do emp.set, and first we're gonna get ID. So there are a couple of ways to do that. So if you do rs dot, then you can see here get string, get binary, get boolean, stuff like that. So we know that integer id is an integer, so I'm going to do get integer, and there is two options we have. We can do column index, and or we can do label. So index means the one means first, second, third. It will start with 1 to 5 we have, and if you can do with the column label. So for now let me go with index. I can choose 1, and first, then emp.set, we have first name after that, and I can do rs.get string, because we know that it is coming as a string, and this is column 2. Same way, set last name and rs.get string. Again, this is column number 3, and same way set address, which is column number 4, and we have employee, and we have set joining date, which is column number 5. So I'm taking that date as a string, not date object. You can take it as a date object also. So I'm doing save, and I can pass this raw mapper inside this function. So it's what is going to do is we are firing query, and we are doing select star. So select star means we are getting everything, and it will come as a list of result set, and we are mapping each and every object as employee object, and we are returning it, and that return value will come inside as a list, and we need to return here, yeah, so like this. And now if I go back, you can see here all errors are gone. So let me open my Postman first, and okay, so here we are, and let me stop the server, restart the server. I forgot to put service here, and same here, I forgot to put repository. Let me save, and let me restart this application. So our application restarted, and if I go here in my console, then I can see we have one value inside our database, which is Batman, right? So I'm going Postman, and I'm firing that API localhost to give HTTP localhost, then port is 8080, and then we have employee. If I hit enter, you can see it is showing some error, not found. Yeah, so if you see here, it is returning us all the values. We have one entry, ID1, first name, last name, address, and joining date, like this. So this data is coming from database, it is not hard coded anywhere. And let me write a second API, which is a post API, means if we want to add. So let me do post mapping, and what I'm gonna do is let me use the same structure, so, and the same way public, and it will return a string. So why string is, you can return any other object, but we need some response from database. It is get stored or not, or something failed or not, stuff like that. So we are taking as a, it will respond string, and then we have something like that, add employee, and here if you see here, we need to take an employee object, and let me do emp, and but this employee object is coming as a response request body. So I can use data annotation request body and stuff like this. So we're gonna pass this here to the our function of the service. So employee service dot add employee, and let me pass emp. So this function is not exist yet, so I'm gonna go and create it. So here, so thing is, we said that all the business logic should be here. So thing is, repository cannot give you your response string back. So what we're gonna do is we can validate that thing here. So first let me go to repository and write an function for addition, right? So and this function will create will return boolean, and function will be something like add employee, and which is returning employee object. And here if you see, I can write JDBC dot JDBCTemplate dot, and then I can fire a query. Or we have multiple options to fire query. You can fire query, or you can go with other options. And if you see here, we have update options. And if I go in update, you can see we have, it is saying you can use this update function for insert, update, or delete statements. So let me select that, and I need to pass query here. So thing is, if you see here, we are passing this hard-coded query, which is not correct programming practice, because let's say you want to change this or you want to reuse this again. So ideal way is normally people create a separate file and put it over there, or you can do something like that, private string, private and final, because if we are using this here only, and final because if I try to change it later, it won't change it. So let me write something like that, get all, and here I can put this query like this, and I can pass this get all name here. Okay, same way I can write private final string insert employee, and I can write query here. So we are using JDBCTemplate, and JDBCTemplate doesn't have feature of name parameters, so we can do something like this, insert and employee, insert into employee, and I can do stuff like that. Or I already wrote that query here in SQL file. I can just copy this and put it here, and I can delete this hard-coded value. Instead I can use this question mark. Okay, and I can use this insert employee in this function, and here I can pass e dot get. So e is an employee which is coming from request, and we are passing. So first thing we need to go, we need to pass his first name. So get first name, then e dot get last name, then we have e dot get address. So, and this function, the thing is, this function will return true or false. This function will return integer. So integer is a count of rows that was affected by this query. So if it is 0, means something went wrong. Okay, so we can do something like that. If this is greater than 0, then return true. And else I can return false. Okay, and based on this response, I can take decisions here now. So that decision will be something like, let me do string and response, and I can return this response, and in between I can set the response. So here I can do something like that. If employee repository dot add employee emp is returning me true, then response will be something like that: successfully added, or else response will be something went wrong, not added, please try again. So this function is ready. I'm doing control S, stopping the server. Let me restart the server. It is restarted, and let me go here, and if I do send, this is returning me one value. So let me open a new tab. Here I'm choosing post, and API is same, so just copy this, and I need to pass something in body. So in here row, then JSON. What I'm gonna do is, let me copy this and put this here. We don't need ID because ID will be generated automatic at SQL side, and we don't need this joining date because joining date database will take a system date automatic. And here let's say we write our second employee is Superman, and which is from Krypton. Let me beautify this. If you beautify, it will rearrange the text. If I hit send, something went wrong. So okay, let me go back here. Okay, yeah, I missed this part, and let me delete that, save, restart the application, and if I hit send, it is showing successfully added. So if I go here in get, and if I hit send, I can see two values instead of one. We added this successfully. Let me add one more. Let's say we have another employee, Aquaman, and which is from Atlantis. If I hit send, it is saying successfully added, and if I go here and send, now we have 3 employees. So that's how we can create post API. Let me create one more. It's called get API. Okay, update API. Let me copy this because structure gonna be same. No, we're not gonna change much here. And if we are updating something, then we gonna need ID here. So we need to make sure one thing, that at the time of so this API won't have ID, but in next put API we're gonna need ID. So here let me do something like this: update employee, same here, update employee, and pass that. And we don't have these functions ready, so let me create it. And here also let me copy this, because structure is gonna be same. So here instead of successfully added, we can say successfully updated and not updated. Let me save, but instead of here add, we need to do update employee, and update employee doesn't exist, so let me create it here. And same thing here, structure gonna be same, just query will be different. So I need to write, instead of insert employee, I need to write update employee, and structure gonna be little bit changed. So private final string update employee, and here we need to put something like update employees update. So I am following this capital small standards. Normally the word which is we are using for SQL, put it capital, so we know the difference. So we are using update employee, and we are setting first underscore name equals question mark, and then last underscore name equals question mark, and then address equals question mark. And we need to put something to identify, so where ID equals question mark. So thing is, if we want to update anything, we need to identify that entry. So ID is for that. And here if we want to pass this update employee, I can do this first name, last name and address is fine, but I need to add one more e.getID like this. And let me stop this, start this, and if I go here, now I restart the server, so I won't have the other entries, but we have one entry here. So let me add one more here, and let's say I have Aquaman, let me add here, and one more, let's say we have Wonder Woman, and we made some mistake here, let's say like this, and which is from past, she is from past. And if I do hit save, and if I go here and see, I have this 3 entry, but this is error that we made and we need to edit this. So we're gonna use our edit API, so which is put this API is same. Let me paste it here and let me copy this from there to here. It's gonna be raw, then JSON, and paste it here. So we're gonna need ID, but this thing we don't need. So let me delete that, and here we have woman. If I do send, it is something went wrong, so employee table not found. Okay, I made a mistake in name, so this is name is employees, it's a S behind it. So let me stop this again, start this, and here if you see again, I need to add this one moment, and we have only 2 right now, and this is the mistake that we made, and here I correct that mistake and I'm hitting send. So it is saying something went wrong, not updated, please try again. So something is not right here. So the thing is, we put ID2 which is not exist here, so that's why it is showing something went wrong. And let me put 2 here, and if I hit send, it is saying successfully updated. So if I go back, if you see here it is wrong, and let me refresh this, so now we have correct entry here. So that's how we can create update API. Let me create last one, the delete one, and let me copy this, delete, and here we need the ID. So to delete any entry, we just gonna need ID, we don't need whole object. So what I'm gonna do is, you can do this multiple ways, but I'm gonna use request variable, sorry, path variable, and I can do like this for path variable ID, and I can specify, let me change the name. So this path variable annotation will assign the value of ID into this ID, and here I can do something like delete employee, and I can pass ID here. So let me go to service and create this class, create this function, and structure gonna be same. So let me copy this, paste it here, but instead of update, we're gonna do delete and gonna pass ID. And here let me change deleted like this. This deleted employee is not exist, so I'm creating it, and here also structure gonna be same. So this query I need to change, and for that let me write another query, delete employees where ID equals question mark. So we just need to pass ID and it will delete it automatic. And let me copy this delete employee. I'm gonna use that query, and instead of this 3 value, we're gonna pass this ID. So if I save this and stopping the application and restarting, if I go here in my Postman, I can see one value right now, and I want to delete this one. So I can go here, new tab, select delete. API is something like this time API is little bit different, and here I'm passing 1, which is an ID. I don't want number 1, and if I hit send, it is saying successfully deleted. So if I go here and hit send, I don't see anything. It is returning me empty string because we delete that part. Let me add one data. uh, let's say I add Wonder Woman. I can see here Wonder Woman as entry, and which is ID 2. And if I want to delete, I can go here and hit 2. If I do that, it is showing me successfully deleted. And if I go here and do get, I can see we don't have Wonder Woman anymore. So that's how we create a CRUD operation with H2 database using JDBC template. But if you see here in our Eclipse, in our code, you can see here we are using this question mark. If you want to use names instead of question mark, you can use name parameter JDBC template. Yeah, this one, name parameter JDBC template, which is a wrapper on top of JDBC template, and which will help you to use names instead of question mark. Moreover, if you see here, we are using these queries like this, but in ideal practice, sometimes we create a separate package here called utility or something, and we put these all queries in one file, particular file. So in future, if we want to change those queries, we just go to that one particular location and we can change it. And one more thing, that we are using these SQL queries, and I told you that SQL versions can be different from database to database, and it can create a problem. So this is the thing that I was talking about that time. So that's all for now, and in next tutorial we will see H2 database, but this time we will see Spring Data JPA. And in my previous tutorial, I have discussed why we need these old technologies and other Spring Boot's important topics. So if you haven't watched them, I recommend you guys go back and see those first, and subscribe for upcoming tutorials, because so many more videos are coming. So that's all for now in this tutorial, and see you in next one. Till then, like, subscribe, and keep learning. Thank you very much.